So it's that time of year as we are in the Jewish month of Elul. And it's at this time where Jews all over the world are starting to think about forgiveness. And as I was going through the Torah portion, a reoccurring theme kept coming into my head. And as you can guess, I was thinking about forgiveness. So in Deuteronomy 23, verse 8, it says, "You shall not abhor the Edomite, for he is your kinsman." And then it says, "You shall not abhor an Egyptian, for you were a stranger in his land." The great sage Rashi says that it would be proper for you to abhor the Edomite because he came out against thee with a sword. Then referring to the Egyptians, Rashi says, although they cast your male children into the river, and what is the reason that you should not abhor him utterly? And then Rashi says, because they were your host in a time of need. Of course, remembering the Joseph story. And he goes on to say that, therefore, although they sinned against you, do not utterly abhor him. And then in verse 9 it says, children born to them may be admitted into the congregation of the Lord in the third generation. And Rashi's answer to that is that this third generation did not cause harm to the Israelites. And I read this as they should be forgiven. And Maimonides, aka Rambam, used this text to interpret how far we should extend the principle of charity. Maimonides, referring back to Deuteronomy 15, verse 11, where it says, "You shall open your hand wide to your brother, to your poor." In his book, The Guide for the Perplexed, Maimonides stated that the law taught how far we have to extend the principle of treating kindly everyone with whom we have some relationship. Even if the other person offended or wronged us, even if the other person is very bad, we still must have some consideration for the other person. And so when the text says, "You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother," Maimonides is interpreting it this way. And when the text says, "You shall not abhor an Egyptian," Rambam says this. Now I know forgiveness might be hard. And sometimes we might feel like we are letting people off the hook or absolving them from the wrong that they have done. But I actually believe that the opposite is true. When people come to us and seek forgiveness, it allows the offender, it gives them the opportunity to do better. And it sends a message to the offender, allowing him or her to correct past bad habits. And I'll leave you with one more thought. In our tradition, God has the power to only forgive sins committed against God. For sins committed against a person, if the offender wants forgiveness, they have to seek forgiveness from the one they have harmed.
Well, that's it for today's lesson. I hope I gave you some things to think about. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you know where to find me.